Hello and welcome to Yachtblast, the North East Caribbean's weekly programme of rock, blues and sailing news with me, Gary Brown. Bulldozers will soon destroy the historic clipper ship City of Adelaide unless she can be moved from her current berth in Scotland. Peter.Maddison talks about the fight to save her.
Island 92.
Now, there are two clipper ships like it in the world, and unless something is done over the next few weeks, the 150-year-old City of Adelaide will be smashed apart by bulldozers. This ship is of great historic significance to England and Australia, and one man is determined to see that she survives. That man is Peter.Maddison, and he joined me on the line from Sunderland in the northeast of England on Thursday. Peter began by telling me some of the history of this remarkable ship.
The City of Adelaide was and is one of the very, very finest ships ever built in Sunderland, built in 1864 on the River Wear by a genius shipbuilder, William Pyle. And although she's almost 150 years old now, she still exists, and she's lying up on the northwest coast of Scotland, abandoned effectively for the last 15 years. And I have been campaigning, I have been pursuing this ship for 10 years. We want to bring her home back to the town where she was built, to restore her, to rig her, and to bring great pride and ambition and faith back to this town, which once was the greatest shipbuilding town in the world. Our time is running out, though. By the 31st of March, if we haven't been successful in recovering her, the bulldozers are going to be moving in, and this incredible, beautiful clipper ship will be destroyed. I am very, very determined, and so are the people that we have working with us now, not to let that happen.
Peter, she's historic in a few ways, isn't she? Because she's one of only two clipper ships left, I believe, that were built composite construction, and the other one is the Cutty Sark. And let me just explain for our listeners, composite construction is a mix of steel frames and wooden timbers, wooden planking.
That's right.
That's always been a problem. My next question has to be, what state is she in? Because planking and steel frames were always an issue. Is she, in fact, worth saving? Can she be saved?
She can certainly be saved. Fortunately for the City of Adelaide, she was in water 15 years ago. She was many, many years on the Clyde in Glasgow and used as a Royal Navy Volunteer Reserve club ship. So she has been maintained and looked after for many, many years. She has been lying for 15 years on a slipway in Irvine. In October last year, I went on board the ship, uninvited. I went on board with 4 days of supplies, and during that time that I was on board, obviously I went exploring into every nook and cranny of that ship with a little tapping hammer and a pointy nose screwdriver and a notebook. And I myself, I'm an ex-seagoing engineer, took my own private survey of the ship, and I've got to say that even before the fire on the Cutty Sark, the City of Adelaide is in far, far finer condition. She survives in such great condition because she's been in water until fairly recently, and she's lying in the north of Scotland. It's cold up there. It's freezing right now. She's by the sea, and there's a constant blast of salty air soaking that ship, which is very, very good for the timber.
Why isn't Britain coming together to help save this historic ship? I mean, after all, the people in Adelaide in Australia, they want to save it. Britain, supposed to be a maritime nation. What's going on?
I think, unfortunately, for the City of Adelaide and so many other great projects, incidentally, we are hosting the Olympic Games in 2012. The Olympic Games don't come cheap, so a great, great deal of money has been hemorrhaged away from these great projects to allow the Games to go on. And also, in addition to the Games, because of the devastating fire on the Cutty Sark 2.5 years ago, millions of pounds have gone back into the Cutty Sark, not only to continue the restoration work that was going on at the time, but to repair the damage after the fire. And I think government is quite shocked by just how much money can be sunk into a ship before she's looking fine and graceful again. Nevertheless, the Adelaide, as I was saying earlier, is in superb condition, and even the ironwork is in far finer condition than the Cutty Sark. So what we're looking for is not the money. We're not looking for millions of pounds to recover the ship and then to restore her to a former glory. What we're looking to do is to recover that ship from their abandoned site in Scotland before the bulldozers move in. This is a recovery operation. We will recover the ship to Sunderland. We will stabilise her condition and preserve what we've got. She's 150 years old. If it takes another 5 years until after the Olympics before we can start doing any restoration work, what's another 5 years in the life of this wonderful clipper?
Absolutely. And what about the people in Australia? They're interested in this too.
I've got great admiration and respect for the Australians. They've also been pursuing the Adelaide for almost as long as I have. That ship largely populated South Australia, so they've got a great emotional and historical link with the ship. In fact, two of their members, their senior members, are coming over to England in about a week's time. We'll be putting them up in Sunderland as our guests for a night to see if we can find some common cause. And they are going up to Irvine, hoping to get access onto the ship so that they can see for themselves exactly what condition she's in now. I hope that we can find common cause, that we can share our expertise and resources to save the ship, and then we can look at where she may be placed geographically. I do hope that we can work together on that.
Yeah, I hope so too, Peter. It seems an awful shame, and I'm actually quite shocked because this historic ship, she's in the care of the Scottish Maritime Museum right now in Irvine, where she's now in a mud berth, but there's not one mention, or at least I couldn't find a mention of this ship on the Scottish Maritime Museum website. What is going on?
Well, if I said that it was a great mystery, I would be being kind. The Scottish Maritime Museum have to be given credit for bringing her back from the Clyde to Irvine 15 years ago. They had very great high hopes at the time of being able to receive Heritage Lottery money, and they did in fact start a restoration plan. That collapsed very quickly when Scotland almost got independence, and the English government refused, naturally, to put millions of pounds into what was effectively a Scottish project. The Scottish Maritime Museum are facing bankruptcy. By the end of March, if that ship is not off the land where she's currently lying, which doesn't belong to the Scottish Maritime Museum, the company who own the land where Adelaide is lying now are going to be demanding back rent, and that amounts to £50,000 a year over the 10 years that she's been lying there. It has become, for the Scottish Maritime Museum, a great, great symbol of their failure to find a recovery team and to find the money necessary to avert the disaster that is looming.
Okay. Well, maybe I shouldn't have been so hard on them there, Peter. But Peter, just
sorry, go on.
Well, Peter, maybe I shouldn't have been so hard on them there. But we are running out of time. Just tell me, as a first step, what do you want to do with the ship? Can you just tell us briefly?
As a first step, what we need to do with that ship, once we get permission from both sets of lawyers to actually legally get access to go on board and survey her in detail with our experts, is to stiffen and strengthen her, which may mean building an internal armature, and to get her away from that site. As long as she's lying there, she is in great, great peril. We need to get that ship as quickly as we can back to Sunderland, where we've got a safe harbour for her and where we have a town full of people who are going to love that ship and devote, in some cases, their lives to the restoration and the preservation and the celebration of that ship. And I'll be the first one in the queue to do that.
Peter, I hope it all works out. I do thank you for being with us here on Yachtblast, and we'll follow this story, so do keep in touch. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Peter Maddison and his fight to save the clipper ship City of Adelaide from being broken up. I can't understand how a maritime nation like Great Britain can allow this to happen, but perhaps that's why it's not so great anymore. If you would like more information on the City of Adelaide, or would like to help the cause in any way, then go to www.cityofadelaide1864.co.uk